One of the key aspects of lifting and going to the gym and trying to move big fucking weights is having a braced core or torso. I like to think of trying to brace your entire torso rather than just your core, because when you just think of your core, what you end up doing, well, what you could end up doing is you get almost tunnel vision towards just trying to tense your front abs, if you like. Whereas a true brace, when we're trying to lift the most amount of weight possible and produce the most amount of force possible, is including like the upper back, literally everything that's kind of surrounding the torso. Every single muscle that is around that trunk needs to be tight and strong. Although, as to not overcomplicate it for the video, because bracing is such a long topic, I could make like a 2-hour video on the topic. I'm just going to show you basically the basics of what bracing is with the 360 degrees method, as I will name it for the sake of the video. So what you want to do is imagine, or if you have access to a belt, put it on, or imagine you're wearing a belt. Now, the reason you wear a belt isn't the belt itself. This is a common misconception. The belt itself isn't actually causing any protection, right, once you put it on. So when you buy these belts with the back that's bigger, it's not actually helping you. The only reason a belt helps you is because it helps you to create intra-abdominal pressure within your own core. So it's not that this exterior device is strengthening you, it's just giving you I'm trying to remember the word, it is... So I can't remember it off the top of my head, but essentially what the belt's doing is just increasing proprioception around your kind of trunk, so you're able to feel what's happening better with your core because something is just pressing against it. Tactile feedback is the word. Because you've got tactile feedback, so if you stand there now, you put your hand on your abs, you can tense whatever you're touching easier. You can just feel what's kind of happening with that muscle a lot better. So obviously, if you think about this now in terms of a belt, you've constantly got this belt on, it's done up fairly tight, not too tight to the point where it's restricting oxygen, but tight enough that you are able to brace into it fairly well. So this belt's giving you constant tactile feedback, causing you to have a very, very strong brace if that's what you're trying to apply your effort into as you're performing the lift. This now gets onto what you actually need to be thinking about doing whilst you're bracing, because just slapping the belt on itself isn't, like I said, adding the stability. So it's not like just because you have this tactile feedback now and you can feel your abs better that you're going to have the strongest brace in the world. There's a lot of other things that are going to go into the brace. But what you need to be actively thinking about doing is, I really, really like the cue for, if you have a belt, breaking your belt. So I find this works with every single person I've used it with, and I've used it with probably around 30 to 40 now, I'd say, over the last 2 years. So, and it's worked for every single one. When you think about breaking the belt or literally snapping it off you, with the oxygen that you're taking in, you're going to create a really strong brace and midsection. So if you watch me now, I'm going to demonstrate how you shouldn't breathe, okay? And you can kind of watch yourself do this if there's mirrors in the gym, or just kind of feel it happening. So if I'd taken my squat out, I was stood there ready to go down, I was getting my brace. If you see the person's shoulders go like this, that's an indication that the brace may not be as strong as it could be, just because the oxygen hasn't gone straight down into the diaphragm like it should do. So ideally, rather than filling up from the top, we would like to fill up from the bottom, if that makes sense. So you don't want to be taking the air into your chest, it needs to be coming down into the stomach first. The easiest way to practice this, if you can't already control this, you're going to stand there. Obviously, if you had 2 hands available, use 2 hands. I'm holding the microphone with 1. With your free hands, you're going to press into your oblique, so your side kind of fleshy muscle there, right? Just right in the middle. You can press in like that with like 2 fingers. That's how I like to do it, or full hand. It literally doesn't matter. It's just tactile feedback. So you press in like this, okay? And then I'm going to let my air out as I press in. And then I'm going to stay pressed in, right? So I'm going to keep a bit of pressure going in with my hand as I've let my air out. Because then, obviously, my stomach's going to have got smaller, hasn't it, right? Because I've let the air out. Then you're going to hold that in with the hand with that pressure. Now, as you take your breath in, that breath, you're going to make sure it goes down and you are expanding your core with that air. So then you press against your hand, if that makes sense. So I'll demonstrate it now and then I'll kind of go over it again. So hopefully there you can see that my shoulders didn't really rise too much. They may have done a little bit, but I'm not perfect. So hopefully you could see that my hand was pushed outwards as I was taking the breath in. This is diaphragmatic breathing. I hope I said that right. If I didn't, let me know in the comments. This is making sure that the air's gone down into the stomach first. And then generally, I think that it's not too bad if you then let a little bit of air up into the chest, like if you almost just top it up, you know, like you're just topping up a cup or something. But as long as we're filling it up from the bottom, that's the main thing. So you've taken your breath in, you've either got your belt on or you haven't got it on, depending on whether you've got access to one or whether you want to use it. The same principles apply if you do not have a belt, by the way. I'm just going to say that now. I don't want to go too into depth with it because it is similar. It's essentially just harder to do without a belt because there's no tactile feedback, but you can kind of increase the sensation by making the muscles bigger. So you'll see like a lot of the guys that are able to do big weights without the use of a belt have got quite a thick midsection, bigger obliques, things like that, because they're responsible for helping you brace. So if you are somebody that wants to try and increase your like fully raw lifts and you don't want to use a belt, you need to build a big fucking midsection. So that's pretty much the basics of how to breathe and brace. This is just covering, again, the abs. There's other things that go into a perfect brace, but that's for another video. Just before I end the video, in case anybody's got the question, just because I realised I didn't quite clarify this yet, if you're wondering when you should be doing the brace and how to use it, that's kind of just the same mechanics of how you breathe when you're doing exercise. So obviously you're going to be holding your breath as you're going down and coming up on a squat, or as you're doing like a heavy compound movement, you hold your breath, okay? That holding your breath is your brace. So hopefully that's clarified it, just in case anybody was getting to the end of the video thinking he's not said it yet. If you've got any other questions, guys, please let me know in the comments. I hope this video has helped you. I know there was a couple of people that I trained that were asking me to do this kind of thing, so I know it's going to help them. If you've got any other questions or anything like that, and if any videos you want me to make, just let me know and I'll get it done for you. Hope you have a good day, guys. Bye.